So let's check out building destruction in the new experimental patch. Now, it's not super exciting. I think it's pretty modest, and I think it's also inconsistent in relation to what weapon systems can do what. Okay, so I arrange this mortar into a house over there. Okay, so I'm aiming for that building with a white ball. Okay, that was a bit short. Okay, so it was hit on the roof and the building collapses. And it appears to be for any mortar shell that I tried on, I think almost every building, can destroy the building with 1 or 2 direct hits on the roof. And I think that's not realistic for a solid brick building to collapse from a mortar shell like that. From, I think, 81, 82 millimeter mortar. I think the explosive charge isn't big enough to do that. And I hope that's an oversight, because it would be a bit gamey if a building could collapse from that. Also, it appears that most buildings, from what I've observed, they only have one state of destruction, which means they're completely intact, and then there's a ruined version of it. And I think it's functional enough because it changes tactically the environment. So, for example, you know that famous building here in Mortar that attacking players like to use to go into the attic and shoot into the harbor base. And you could quickly collapse the building, so it's just a ruin, and it would actually have tactical impact on the game. Okay, now let's explore different ways to destroy buildings. Okay, now I'm in a Huey with the HE rockets, and let's see what it can do with the building. I think there was a hit on the building. Let's try another one. Not sure it was the garage building in front of it. Let's try this one. And it's collapsing too. Now I'm not sure if a HE rocket from a helicopter like that, or 2 of them, would collapse a building of that size. Now I think it would severely damage it, but I don't think a mortar shell would do it. Another reliable method to destroy a building is you take a landmine and detonate the landmine. Let's put it next to the building. But first I thought I could use the explosives packages to detonate the landmine. However, it appears in this patch they still can't detonate them. I'm not sure if that's intended or not. If you put a C4 stick next to mine, it would resist that type of explosion. So let's try it. Okay, nothing's happening. I can still directly shoot it by detonating it. And that will collapse the building. Now think a 10 kilo landmine with, I think the American landmine has about 15 kilos, which means I think about 10 kilos of that is the explosive charge. And I've seen a video in real life of a landmine of that size basically collapsing a small building. So I think that's realistic. But I think that the mortar shell and the helicopter rockets, at least 1 or 2 of them, shouldn't immediately collapse a building like that. And there's also tree destruction. Now, Whether that's going to have a tactical impact, I'm not sure. Let me see. So what you can do here is you can simulate a mortar barrage. Yeah, single mortar shell. Now let's throw it up some trees. Okay, it's pretty nice, the tree collapses. Let's try a small mortar barrage like that. And again, I think that's too powerful, because I think, like, even if it has a lot of fragments, an 81mm mortar shell, it weighs, well, how much is it? 2, 3 kilos, 4 kilos. I think it's 4 kilos. And a lot of that is just the casing and the propellant charge. So I think it probably has, I'm not sure what's the explosive power, like the one of a big hand grenade or something. And the thing is, I tried this with, I put an actual C4 stick on a tree like that, the tree wouldn't collapse. So I think mortars are overpowered. I hope it's an oversight, because it would be really gamey just because the mortar is pretty difficult to use to give it more explosive power. But giving previous indications, I think the developers are pretty consistent with the realism on explosives. So I think it's an oversight. Now the question is does that have a tactical impact if you hit at trees like that? Let's take a look at this. See, the tree collapses from a shell that exploded 10 meters away. Okay, now when you destroy all those trees, I think in close combat it might change the battle. But the problem is, on long range, it probably won't change it. So if you look at this scene from Mortar, and that's more like a technical limitation of I think most open world game engines. If you're looking at the place from this side, let me find an officer. That's a problem, that the grass render distance isn't far enough, and the terrain detail at a distance is pretty low poly. And that's not a specific problem for this game. That's I think most open world games have that. Which means at a distance, it's mostly smooth terrain, and you don't see the detailed unevenness of forest terrain that you only see up close from detail. So I don't think that, let's say, if you destroy some trees over there, it's not going to change anything for a person trying to hide among the trees. So overall, I think the building destruction feature, I think it's functional. In city combat, I think its main use is going to be to take out tall buildings, so the enemy side can't use them as a firing position. So for example, if you carpet bomb the entire town with explosives, which can you do pretty quickly with a helicopter, then it turns into a two-dimensional flat terrain, and you take away the elevation advantage somebody might have.